Welcome to Spaces Between. This is a podcast about bringing gamers closer together. I'm your host, Ryan Canada, and today my very special guest is Dave Luza. What's going on, man?
Hi, welcome to Germany, Düsseldorf. Woohoo!
Woo! Nice. And Dave always likes to tell everybody, I'm not German, I'm from the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's very true. I have to keep telling people that. A lot of people don't even know they're different countries. I mean, I speak Dutch and not German, but there's
You speak
Deutsch,
lots of languages,
which
right?
sounds like Dutch. So there's a lot of similarities, even in the languages itself. But I want to point out, yes, I am from the Netherlands.
Nice. Well, if anybody doesn't know who Dave is a Board Game Breakfast contributor. He also does tons of different stuff with This Game is Broken. You guys have a podcast, and then you do reviews, and you do video talk-throughs, like podcast sort of things, sort of similar to this. So I'm not Matthew Jude, but I'm here. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah, well, I'm very happy to talk to you, Roy. When have we met for the first time? I think that was...
I know we did Gen Con a while back. We roomed together in
2016, yes.
That was a while back.
Where you thought it was okay to sleep on the floor on an air mattress with just a sheet on you.
I tried for a little while. Listen, I'm all about sacrificing myself so that other people can be comfortable. But
I was very comfortable. But I thought it was crazy that you did that.
Mm-hmm. How do you think like conventions like that compare to conventions over there in Europe and Germany? I know Gen Con is huge. Essen is also huge. What would you think the main differences are?
The main difference is Gen Con is more like a 24-hour thing, which was great for my jet lag. I've been there once when we met, and I woke up. I think it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, I'm awake. I'll just get up. And then I went downstairs and I met people that I've never met before, and they were playing a game and said, hey, would you like to join? It's 6 a.m. Yeah, I want to join.
Yeah, when they say Gen Con is the best 4 days in gaming, it's full days, not nighttime. They don't take off the nighttime. It's like, I mean, you can find a werewolf game in the middle of the night anywhere. I mean, you can find almost any game in the middle of the night. Yeah. Because there are people just playing like crazy.
And I thought it was amazing. Also, that it's not only board games, but I mean, Essen has a lot of role playing as well, and you've got your stores that sell the swords and the stuff for D&D and for LARPing. But at all the different workshops at Gen Con, I saw a bondage nut tying workshop. Okay, sure.
Okay, then.
Medieval knitting and... wow. Yeah, let's do that. Let's learn that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that goes on at Gen Con. I normally stick to the board game side and the board game hall stuff. But there's like tons of there's like hotel rooms just slap full of D&D games. It's like every single table, DM's running a D&D game, and there's tons of miniatures games and tons of tabletop games and mega games that you'd never see anywhere else. It's super crazy.
I did True Dungeon because I knew I would want to try that out. So at Gen Con, I participated in a True Dungeon, which was an amazing experience to just do that.
Yeah, I was always interested in True Dungeon. I was always interested in it, but the price was very prohibitive, and I was just like, that's a decent amount of my con right there.
It was my holiday, so I wanted to experience it, and so I did. I'm not sure if I would do it again because, I mean, nowadays you've got so many escape room-like games that already give you that role-playing feeling, so I don't think I need to do it again now, but going there by myself, I mean, if you're with your significant other, you want to share that experience, even double the price, and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you go dressed up in True Dungeon? Did you dress up as a knight or a monk or a wizard?
I was a ranger because a friend of mine, he said, oh, you're going to Gen Con doing True Dungeon? I've got these tokens for you, and I didn't know what to do with them. So he gave me a bunch of tokens, and then I was sitting there, and they said, oh, you need to be the ranger. Okay, sure. And then they gave me the stuff, and everyone came together. Oh, I've got this. Now you can walk on lava. Turns out we didn't have lava in our room, but I could have walked on it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's always
Yeah.
good to be prepared in case there's lava. You never know.
You never know. And I mean, now it's a game to say, hey, the floor is lava. So it was really an amazing experience. So that's 24/7 at Gen Con. But going to Essen, it's 9:30, the doors open, and at 7, it's closed. And we don't care what you do as long as you don't do it here, because we're closing it and you need to leave. And then you go to, there's not one big hotel. You've got these small Airbnbs and well, there are some bigger hotels which no one can afford. And they don't have dedicated space to game. They don't even want you in the bar mostly because you're annoyed. You're annoying. So what do? You just go home, punch your games, and prepare for the next day.
Interesting.
That's Essen, yeah.
Yeah, it'd definitely be weird to be like, because normally at these cons it's always like, okay, the hall's closed. Where can I find my people and try to get a game in? You know, it definitely seems like a whole different thing over there. Because I'm sure it's the fair is probably a lot more like family oriented. You go in, you grab a game, and you run back out.
Yeah, definitely. It's very family friendly, and mostly, I don't have the numbers, but I think mostly the people who go to Essen just go for one day, bring the family, and they're there for one day. And at Gen Con, the 4-day passes. That's what you do. No, I'm going 4 days. And in Essen, I think that's more rare for people to do that. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I've been to Gen Con once. I don't feel the need to go back because I have Essen. And Essen, I've said it before, Essen is like 20 minutes drive for me. So that's my local con. So
gotcha, that's crazy. That's awesome. I know you have a bunch of like background and performance and like maybe theater type stuff, and I know you've actually been in like commercials and things like that as well. Having all that background, what made you want to get into like doing board game media stuff?
It was 2016, and I thought, I probably should play that hottest new video game. But I thought, that's going to take me a lot of time to play through it, and then that's maybe a waste of time. Maybe I want to create something, and that's when I decided I'm going to ask Tom, because for me, board game media was the Dice Tower. I didn't have anything else in mind. And then I sent Tom an email. I said, I've got an idea for a segment on Board Game Breakfast. And he said, sure, make it, and I'll look at it and say if it's good, then it's good. And that's how I started making videos, by not playing video games. And I'm still very happy that I did that. I was very happy to find that's how I started out, as trying to do creative stuff with board games, not do reviews. I held off on doing reviews a long time until I found out that people just want reviews, which is weird. Reviews and top tens, that's what everyone wants. But doing creative stuff, like I did a puppet series about Pandemic Legacy, which
I remember that. That was awesome.
I love doing it, but then I look at the numbers. How many people actually watch that? And okay, this episode got 73 views for something that I've worked so hard on that it might not have been the best way of using my time.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm very happy that's what I did. So, yeah.
Making content for legacy games is such a hard thing because it's such a niche market. It's like you're almost showing the game to people who have already played the game, you know? And so it's
because the rest of the world doesn't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, you have gamers, and then you have board gamers, then you have board gamers who want to play Pandemic Legacy who aren't going to watch it, but you have to have the board gamers who have already played Pandemic Legacy or don't care about being spoiled.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's also already a very small group. I'm actually going to talk to the Z-Man Games boss tomorrow about some content maybe for Pandemic Legacy Season 3. Which awesome. Is going to be here in a couple of months, I think. But we were talking about that as well. And he said, well, yeah, your puppet stuff, it was nice, but not many people watch that. Sure. In when did I do that? In 2017. My channel was just starting. And
for sure.
I've 10... we've got loads of followers now at This Game Is Broken. So I would reach more people. But I don't think that's what people want to see. I think they actually want to get an idea of what the game is and get a review of it. Sure, comedy content is nice, but mostly when you want to get info on a game, I don't want to see a sketch about it. I just want to see what the game is like. Yeah.
Make an informed decision as a consumer, and you can help people do that, you know?
Yeah. So that's a weird thing to think about. I mean, I've made 15 original songs about board games, which was really fun to do until you find out that's not what people want to see. So, but I created 15.
I still think it's fun though. Like I really enjoy that sort of stuff too.
But
though.
you live in the world where everything is a review, or well,
I guess
not everything,
right.
but so you're happy to see something else.
Yeah.
But for regular, I don't know. I still love doing creative stuff about board games, but I just have to face it. If I make a stupid video with talk about a game, and loads of people like that, I think I like that better than putting way more work in something that no one watches. No. Yeah.
But the music stuff works really good for like the live shows, though. I think.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But then again, why would you make some original song if you can just make a parody and don't have to create the music for it? And
there's that.
You just it's so much easier. And everyone, I know this song. Oh, that's smart. He changed the lyrics a little bit.
Yeah,
which is way less work than
creating.
That's
creating a whole CD. You're gonna drop your whole board game mixtape.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So before you started the Dice Tower stuff, did you have a whole lot of board games, or were you starting in it and then your collection grew as time went by, or how did board gaming for you look before you started making board game content?
I think I was 11, something like that, when on a rainy Sunday my mom took out Monopoly and said, "Oh boys," I was 11, my brother was 10. We're gonna play this. And what's that? And we played Monopoly, and I must have won because I like playing games. And then because of that, my brother, he must have lost because he hated playing games. I think that's all that one rainy Sunday. And from that moment on, I was interested in. And for my birthday, I wanted to get a game. The first game where my birthday, my mom said, "You go to the game store," and it wasn't a game store; it was just a toy store, and you pick out a game that you really like. And I remember standing there, looking at the shelves, and Axis and Allies. That looks like a big game. I think I want that. And then I got the Peking Mysteries, which was way more child friendly, and I'm so happy that I bought that one instead of the Axis and Allies, because that would have been way different.
Oh yeah,
that would have changed. I don't think I would have loved that as much as I did just playing the Peking Mysteries, which was really a great game to get into, and I still own it somewhere.
What is that game? I've never. What is
you move around the board trying to figure out who did it. It's a who did it, and there are.
Is it very Clue-like, or?
Yeah, you've got these witnesses, and you walk to them, and they say, "Oh, the perp had a beard, and he had glasses," and so you find out, but one of them might be lying, so you need to check out the wise guy, the smart man, and he tells you. Everyone tells the truth, or someone is lying, which means they had the opposite of information, and you will always have one perp at the end of the game, and that perp would hide in one of the Chinese dragons that were walking around the board. So then you need to get there and say, "Hey, you did it," and then you had the infrared cards, and you had the mirror, so you had to look at it, and code breakers. It was really a great game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I started. I still loved playing games, but we didn't have any. I mean, Monopoly. How often is Monopoly fun? I used to play games with a friend of mine. Play card games for money. I remember being 15 and getting that feeling of, and we started playing for nothing, but then we always doubled the stakes. And I remember one day where I lost like 7 times in a row, doubling up every time. And he was we were both very uncomfortable because I owed him a lot of money. And then we were very happy that the 8th game we broke even. So okay, we're back to normal. Now it's fun again. And then Catan happened. And Catan happened really. I feel I was one of the first people in my surroundings to play that, love it. And then the internet started out and people were saying, oh, we're doing a tournament. And I went to different cities to play in tournaments, local tournaments. And then I did the national championship for Catan.
Oh, dang, that's awesome.
So much. I love playing a game where everyone is very clear on, we're trying to win, okay? We're still friends, but I'm trying to win this game. I'm not.
I bet. So I've never played Catan in like a tournament setting, but how does that? I'm sure the dynamic of trading in a tournament setting is extremely different.
And how you behave, because you want to be. You don't want to be that guy that everyone hates at the table, because if you have to choose, who am I going to put the robber with? Sure, at first it's very clear. You want to put it at the guy who's in the lead, because in Catan that's a way to mitigate that.
For sure.
But at some point it's like, who do I like better? And you want to be, so good thing that I was a comedian and trying to. I think I'm very good at feeling, sitting at the table and feeling the vibe and trying to say
act like you're not a threat.
I'm not a threat. Look at me. I only got 3 points, but I've got 5 points ready in the next move.
I'm the funny guy. Don't hurt me.
Yeah. Don't look at me. And then being the first one to raise your hand, judge. Can I put my ships around the board? And then they had to call. I think they called. What's his name?
Klaus Terberg himself.
Yeah, they had to call Klaus Terberg and say, "Can you put your ship on the edge of the?" There was nothing there, but I just wanted to make more ships to get the longest route. And they said, "Yeah, no one has ever done this, but yeah, you could." Yes, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then Carcassonne, which I loved. In 2014, I was the Dutch Carcassonne champion, and I got to participate in the World Championship, which was all expenses paid, going to Essen, which
That's
was
awesome.
20 minutes from my house. Which was,
So the expenses weren't that hard. It's like, we'll let you rent a bicycle. Go ahead.
Yeah. But still, it was very cool to hang out there, and I've spent a couple of. I think I've been to Essen for it feels like 15 years. And I just spent days at the Carcassonne booth, hanging out there, playing the games. They had the World Championships. They had other.
That's so crazy, because it seems like Catan and Carcassonne were like lifestyle games for you almost, because you were in like the tournament
at
scene
some point they were,
for these games that normally people would be like, oh, this is like a family game we play occasionally and it's like a cute little game. You're like, no, I was competing in these games.
Yeah, but I feel like I was one of the few people who still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to play the games. I didn't want to win. I didn't care it was fun to win, but I didn't really care that much. Yeah.
But you always made sure you were one up on the giant farm in Carcassonne, so that way you could. It's like, listen, I mean, I had all the farms, so obviously I win.
But playing against people from different countries who are so in the game, who know every card that's out there. I didn't count the cards. I didn't see the point in I tried to learn it because everyone said, well, now you should learn how many of those cards are in it. I don't enjoy doing that, so I didn't. But I did feel like playing against a guy who was so into counting everything. And then at the end of the game, he forgot to count his meeples. He had one meeple was on the floor, and he didn't think of counting those. So he lost the game because he just, how is it that I never have enough guys? And then at the end, oh no. And then he picked it up from the floor. So that was fun for me. But I came in 7th, I think.
That's crazy. That's awesome, though. That's definitely an interesting backstory. It's so crazy. Like, I mean, were you in the Netherlands at the time or in Germany then as well?
I think I started going. I've met my wife, who's German. That's the reason I moved to Germany in 2001. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, must be around that time somewhere.
And all these games were getting huge over in Germany, and they were being brought over to America. But you got to see it all from the German side. Like, did people in Germany have any idea that like there was this whole huge board game buzz building up around all these German games, and everybody is like, oh, what's the newest German game? We got to get it in and get like paste it up and figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Did I guess was there any inkling that it was hitting the Americas at all?
Only when you went to Essen, then you noticed, whoa, there's more going on than just us. But it's mostly the people around me that I played the games with. I didn't see it as such a huge world thing. And still, I mean, I know now a lot of people from all over the world, but it's still me playing games with my friends on Monday, going to that pub here and play those games and have people come over. It's still very small, but sometimes, especially at Essen or Dice Tower Con East, that I get to see everyone. It's like, oh wow, it's a world out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is very interesting now because it's like a lot of the games from Germany came over to the U.S. and made a huge impact, and now I feel like a lot of the American or maybe more like thematic games are coming in from like the UK and America, and they're all kind of merging together. And I feel like my favorite games are the ones that utilize those awesome like solid like Euro mechanics and resource management and points, but then also have like crazy cool mystical themes on them. So I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah, I think, and that's one of the cool things I think I love about you is how you love going for the experience. And having memorable moments in games. And I can play on a Monday night. I go to my gaming group and I play a couple of games, and I win or I lose. It's all. I had a fun night. But you go home and you have, you remember that one game where that. Yeah, I don't have that. But I love that you do.
I always love to like set up those games, and I mean sometimes they take longer or have more weird, strange rules or are more lucky, but sometimes that luck it makes those exciting moments. It's like, oh man, remember that one time we were on the very edge, everything was going to get destroyed, and so was the traitor because they were stabbing us in the back the whole time, and then we rolled the die and we rolled an 8, and we were going to lose if we rolled at like 6 on the die, but we rolled an 8 and everybody wins, or the whole good guys team wins, yay! I don't know. It's like you remember those moments, or you remember the one time your friend did this thing that screwed everybody else over, or you remember the time that like your entire friend group turned against you on a vote in Twilight Imperium and exhausted all your planets, and then you're like, well, if I'm not going to win the game, who's going to win? But you're still like in the corner like trying to scratch out a couple more points. They're like, no, Roy, stop it. And they beat you down again, you know. But it's fun, interesting stories and things that I feel like these games can create around the table, you know. So, I mean, even stories like, hey, remember that time the one guy dropped his meeple on the floor and I won the tournament? I don't know. That's just fun.
But that's true. I have those moments. Yeah.
So you've done a ton of stuff on the Dice Tower and done a ton of like board game breakfast segments. You also have segments that you're doing with your wife now as well.
Oh yeah, she likes being involved in the segments for the Dice Tower, and we do reviews now together, which people like even more. And she's got a different view on games, so I like to talk to her about what do you like about that, and I mostly talk about, well, I feel it's more like people who play a lot of games look at games and go, oh yeah, that's a little bit like that, okay, but she's like, well, it's just fun, or it's just pretty, or okay, sure.
That's awesome.
That counts as well. And is it a family game or not? And I've got lots of games that I don't play with her because I know she would not like it. So, yeah. So I love doing the segments with her as well. And it's we had the Purge and thinking of new segments. I mean, that's a whole thing. I started out with playing the news, where I looked at something that happened in the news and then
related to a board game.
Yeah, and the first one I did, which was the episode that I sent to Tom, was about which is almost 4 years ago, where you had the Republicans were looking who they wanted to send out as maybe be president. And I thought, oh, this is King of Tokyo, where everyone was just you had these different kind of monsters, and I put that together, and I said, I like what you do, but never ever do something about politics. Yep. Okay, so that's but I was in. So that playing the news, I've done that for over a year, which was a lot of work. I mean, I love doing it, but sure. Again, for only a short segment, and putting in a lot of work and thinking of the theme and connecting it with something, and then have that game that you want to connect it to, and then explain a little bit, even if I hadn't played it.
And at a certain point, you start running out of games or running out of ideas, and then you're just kind of like,
yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting. Yeah. We have so many contributors that come on board, and they just kind of do their one thing, and then they kind of run out of steam on that one thing, and then they'll fall away. But like you have managed, and I know I've done it with several different things, and the people that really stick around are the people that are like, okay, I've done that, what else can I do? You don't have to be stuck to making one type of media. I mean, like you said, I did music things, and it wasn't doing it. Now I'm switching over to reviews and top 10s and this podcast thing. I mean, you should always be evolving your media and changing things up with what you see people are enjoying.
Yeah, I think, and the most important thing is, do you like to do it? Because I mean, there's no money involved in it. It's all love for the games and for meeting people. So I love doing that. And if someone wants to get into board games for any other reason, I think they will be disappointed and stop making content very fast, because just doing it for the fun of it. But I do get to go places. I mean, I've been to Gen Con, and I've been to Dice Tower Con and Birmingham, and we've got some fun things. I've been to Berlin last year, which was really fun. Yeah, which I mean, of course, it's relatively close, but I hadn't been to Berlin Con, and now I have.
Oh, that's awesome. We were talking a little bit beforehand, like I've never actually been to any of the conventions outside the United States, and I might have opportunities to go this year, so I'm super excited. So maybe I'll get to come hang out in your neck of the woods, Dave. That would be awesome.
I mean, if there's one con I think you should try to go to, that is the UK Games Expo, because that's one where you've got this big trade hall that's open during the day, but then at night you go and play games. There's actually room to play games. There's the Hilton, that's huge. That's amazing how everyone finds tables there, and how full it is when you're like 10 minutes late and all the tables are gone. And it's so huge that it's hard to grasp that all the tables are gone. And UK Games Expo, if you've got a chance of going, even so than Essen, of course, everyone wants to go to Essen once in their life, but if you get a chance, first go to UK Games Expo.
Yeah, I'm excited about UK Games Expo, mostly because I know there's a huge thematic and miniatures game feel to that convention, just because Games Workshop has, like, Games Workshop and UK are kind of like, you know, connected in a lot of ways. So it's like the gamers there are very much going to be like combat and roll some dice, you know.
Yeah.
So
man, I'm bummed out because I'm not going to the UK Games Expo this year because I'm working in the theater, which is still my job. Which is fun, but I wanted to get to the conventions.
Well, I'll have to let you know how it goes, and hopefully I'll get to see you later on in the year at Essen. We'll see.
Yeah, and I still hope it's not set in stone yet that I'm going to Dice Tower East.
Yes, that needs to happen.
What I'm hoping for.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll definitely see you at that way before Essen. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for people that don't know what This Game is Broken or what you do there or anything about that, which, I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you should be watching This Game is Broken. Come on, Dave's on it, obviously. But let people know about what that is and like what you do there.
What This Game is Broken started off as a podcast where a bunch of idiots are given a bunch of idiotic things to do. And that means it's like a board gaming panel show where you've got one team captain, one captain, and he gives questions to two different teams. And fun questions, but the answer is always related to board games. And we've got some very weird out there rounds trying to guess from what board game realm you just escaped. But you don't know it yourself, so you're, I'm back. And they started asking, oh, man, you look like you've seen a monster. And said, oh, it was terrible. I was in this big house. And they try to put you in the right spot. And in the end, you know where you escaped from. And just have some fun. I do some musical parodies when I'm hosting. We're rotating the hosts of the episode. So when it's my time to host, I usually have some musical parodies for it. I sing them and they try to guess what board game I'm singing a board game about, the song about. So it's just fun. It's me, it's Matthew Jude, who's also on Board Game Breakfast, Dead Last, I think his segment's called, right? Yeah. Yes. And the brothers Murph and Kiki Amarito. And we have some guests now and then, which are always all out of our bubble of lovely board game media people. It's every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. You'll find it everywhere where you can find podcasts. So This Game is Broken is the name of the podcast. And then we started doing some more board game related media through our YouTube channel, which started out at just another review channel. But we do some fun things that are not just reviews. Matthew Jude, he's done some great comedy bits about the news, the hottest news. He actually started, which I thought was an amazing idea, something like, we don't know anything about this game yet, except for the game title and the page on Board Game Geek. We don't know anything about it. Let's see what it is and try to imagine how a game could be, which is, I think, the next best thing when you don't have any info to go on. I really like that. And I like to, I've got, together with Ilka, my wife, we've done some compare videos. So we've got like 5 games and rank them. How would they be if you play with your family? How would they be if you would play solo, or just put them in different rankings? I really like that concept. So
that's awesome. And you guys also do some live chats and stuff like that too, right? Like Q&As and talk to the people and talk about different topics. Yeah,
that's started out as just let's hang out. It's mostly 2 or 3 of us, mostly on Wednesday nights. For me, Wednesday nights, which is probably Wednesday morning for everyone else in the world, which is just talking about half an hour, talk about things we just noticed, or maybe we'll do a top 10, but it's very low-key and very easy. Well, just like this, just like talking to you.
Nice. We actually had the Brothers Murph on the cruise, and they did one of you guys' segments, I guess, where you they say the name of a game backwards or whatever, and you have to guess it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the bits from This Game is Broken. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, they told me they were going to do it, and I thought, oh yeah, that's an amazing round. Listening to them pronouncing the games backwards and then trying to wait if it starts with that. Oh yeah. We've got some very fun segments that we choose for the different shows.
Yeah, Paula Deming was like beasting those, so she obviously thinks backwards or something. I don't know, but
yeah. Have you had her on yet?
Not yet. That's another person that I really need to get on. It's so funny because like I'm so excited to this show. I'm like, I just want to talk to all these different people, and it's like I always have these ideas in my head. It's like I want to get this person, get this person, get this person. I haven't even asked a lot of these people yet, but I have like this mental list, and it's like, dang, when's the next week coming? It's kind of exciting. I don't know. I'm always excited, like, when's the next week so I can have another person on? And then when's the next week after that so I can get another person on, you know?
Yeah.
And as far as as far as it goes, though, I'm always trying to like mix it up of like, okay, I want to get somebody from the Dice Tower, and I want to get somebody who's like outside the Dice Tower, and I want to get somebody who's like a publisher or a designer, and it's just fun to talk about all sorts of different things on an extremely casual level. You know, it's like, hey, when would we have ever known that like Dave was a huge like Carcassonne tournament guy, you know? So, I mean, I'm sure you've talked about that on some things, but I've seen you on tons of stuff and known you for a while, but I never knew you were into the tournament scene.
Yeah.
Is there any other, like, interesting oddball things about your gaming interests and habits or other, like, fringe parts of the hobby that people wouldn't know from other podcasts they've listened to you on?
Wow, that's very hard because mostly others are... I like playing board games. That's mostly the thing that everyone's very interested about. The stuff I do in the theater, that's something that I'm very passionate about. And I do improv, but it's my profession. So I'm touring in the Netherlands with my group, which is called Op Sterk Water. And we play comedy shows, but they are... It's hard to talk about yourself and say, oh, it's amazing. But we try to do it to the next level. We've got this huge stage that we bring with us to every theater. We've got projections, and we've got we interact with it. And we try to make it one big show. It's not just like you see in a lot of improv shows, which is little pieces, and then we go to the next bit, and then we do the next bit. But we try to make it a theater experience, and we've done that for 20 years that we've been together and creating stuff. And every time we just premiered a new show which is called In Space. We're going to tour that show for 2 years, and then we're going to come up with something new. But
it's very thematic. You're doing a space setting, and you're in spaces between right now.
And it wasn't even my idea. Thinking of, I've got so much knowledge about doing stuff in space through board games.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I set my colleagues down is that we're playing Terraforming Mars.
Nice.
And they said, oh yeah, sure. Why? Well, it's a board game, but you're going to learn stuff. You're going to think of new ideas of how to terraform a planet. Just smash a comet into it and see what happens. Okay, and so we got some ideas for how to behave in space and how to look at the big picture of improvising huge stories through. Well, the Terraforming Mars is a very good example, and I could have played more games with them, but they're not that much into games. But we did play Terraforming Mars.
That's awesome.
I'm very, very passionate about doing those shows because I don't think anyone can do what we can do. We actually have we've got this little board computer, that's what we call it, on stage, and when I press a button on it, the lights go out. So I can direct the lights and the sounds, and then a video would start and show us the name of the room we're going to play the next scene in, which is it's so cool to do that, to have that power. It's like, okay, we've got a spaceship. We've got I think I came up with 10 different rooms inside the spaceship because we want to create a whole story. It's more like, okay, we see that this is happening in the sick bay. Let's go to the quarantine room and see what's going on there. So in the meantime, whoop, and you press the button, and you're in the quarantine room where another story evolves. And
you guys just improv like the whole acting part of this along the way?
Yes, that's exactly what we do. We ask the audience at the beginning. We've got this nice setup where at the beginning of the show we're saying, we're actually starting with liftoff. So you see us do like a 1 minute bit where we're having liftoff, but we're taking the audience with us, telling them a computer told us you are the best people to have a journey of 5 to maybe 20 years with, and then start a new population on a new planet because I mean Earth is it's dying. So we're gonna do this, and you are the best people to do this with. You've got the experience, you know what to do, And the computer told us, bring them and you'll be good. So we did that, but we don't know anything about you. So tell us what you do. So we've got like 10 minutes at the beginning of the show where we're talking to everyone and trying to find out what they can do. Oh, you are a technical engineer. Oh, cool. What kind of stuff can you build? And someone says, no, I'm in construction. I said, okay, cool. Construction will be very, very important. And then someone says, I can fold balloons. Okay, I don't know how yet we're gonna need that, but the computer.
You gotta build up the morale because you fold balloons for everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get depressed in space. You gotta go fold balloons for people to keep everybody happy.
Exactly. And then we start improvising, and of course we've got all these 10 minutes in the back of our heads, and then we find out, oh no, the cables are all mixed up, and we need someone to bend them in the right order, and then I can do that, and then someone comes out. So trying to make it a whole thing, something that someone says at the beginning of the show ends up being very important at the end of the show, which I thought is it's very cool to have that.
I always think like the whole like callback comedy or kind of like making a meme of something is kind of interesting, like where like you said, where it's like, oh, somebody will say something at the beginning, but it becomes like a recurring joke. I don't know. It's always fun. Like, I don't know, even just in the office, in the studio, just silly things that people will say they would just keep bringing up over and over again. It's not even really funny, It's just kind of like it becomes funny because it keeps coming back up, Yeah,
no, that's very true. Yeah. And it's funny because mostly of my online social media presence is all in English, and it's all for people who cannot go to my shows.
Oh, for sure.
A couple of people semi-co-op and some other people who are online a lot. They live in the Netherlands, and they come to my show and oh, I'm hanging out with Dave and I just saw his show. And so it's very funny that, I mean, the first time I really got recognized for doing something that I love doing is not been in the Netherlands, where I've been on stage for 20 years, but it was at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Where a random person just like, oh no, it's Dave. So, okay, I have to go to Gen Con to get that? I'm doing 20 years of comedy in the Netherlands? That does not do that? Okay, cool.
It's so funny. Like, I had the same sort of thing at Gen Con. Like, somebody's like, oh my goodness, Roy, I'm so like starstruck. I'm scared to talk to you. I'm like, dude, I'm a dude who like shoots videos in his garage. Like, I talk to a camera and hope somebody's watching, and it's just so fun. I'm like, I'm just excited to meet you as you are to meet me, because I mean, I'm just a dude, I like board games. It's really cool. Especially when people like come up to you and do some of those callbacks or like some of those funny things. I'm sure with This Game Is Broken, you guys have tons of memes or inside jokes. And when somebody comes up to you and like shouts out one of those or knows about that or something like that, it's just such a like awesome experience. It's like they're already friends with you. You just haven't met them yet. It's just so fun.
But they know a lot about you, and they talk about. I mean, at one episode. We had to think of a game that gave me a headache while playing it, and I thought, Kingdom Builder. Oh yeah. Kingdom Builder. I got a headache of playing Kingdom Builder.
And now it's like Kingdom Builder. Dave hates Kingdom Builder.
From that moment on, it just went whoop. That is the game and now everyone makes fun of say, hey Dave, I've got Kingdom Builder. It's, oh, okay. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's the worst game ever made. Kingdom Builder.
It's always awesome and fun to see. But what was I gonna say? So with all of this theater and like experience and stuff, have you ever done any like role playing games or any like LARPing type stuff? Because it seems very like it with all of that sort of experience, it seems like it would be crazy to play a role playing game with you, because you'd just be like, oh well, we climb the wall and we go over here and we do this, because you'd just be able to come up with stuff off the top of your head.
Yeah. I've never done it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I feel, am I getting paid for that if I do that? I've played the Untold, I think it's called. It's with the story cubes where you make a whole story.
Gotcha.
It's like, the story cubes, the board game. And I did that. I sat down with the guy and I started thinking, oh, but then this happens. And then, we got that cube. And then that happened. He was like, yeah, this is wow, you're doing great. Everyone needs some help about how, but I just did it. And I was done. I said, oh, wow, did you like it? You're probably going to buy it, right? I said, no,
it's just my day job.
Yeah, I know what's going on. I know how to do this. It's not that much fun for me to do, but I wanted to see what the game was about. But yeah, so I don't feel like I really want to play those games. I would love to. We did an episode of the podcast, a special bonus episode that was a choose your own adventure, and we all had one specific character that we're playing as. I like that. I like getting in, trying to do a voice or maybe make some fun of it. But yeah, that's it. I could be the game master. That I can do. And I've done that. We had some people together, and I was the game master, trying to talk people through it. I love doing that, but that was it. I haven't tried anything else with it.
Yeah, I always enjoyed doing the game mastering and world building part of it more too. It's just interesting to, especially when that's probably where the skill really comes into like effect. Because like really good game masters are able to just go on the fly. It's like, oh, you're talking to this townsperson. Well, what does a townsperson have? And you could just make stuff up, you know.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. I grew up with a whole lot of these role playing games. Like from the age of like 13, I played role playing games with my dad. My dad was huge into it in college. And it's just interesting to have like, I feel like that's where a lot of my joy for those experiences comes from. I need some story in my game but you act out the story on stage every night.
Yeah. I don't need that in my games. Just give me cubes. Which is not true. I like a good theme in my game. I do like it, yeah. Well,
as far as like favorite games go, we all know you hate Kingdom Builder, but what are games that you actually do like?
I've played Pandemic Legacy, the first one, twice. Once with my group, with my wife, and once streaming, making the puppet videos. I really like Legacy games. I love it so much. There are some downsides to playing Legacy games, though, but I'm playing Clank Legacy right now. Have you played Clank?
Nice. I played through. Me, Tom, and Sam played through the entire thing.
You were part of it.
It was a blast. Like I really enjoyed that game.
I really enjoyed it, but right now we're 6 or 7 games in, and there's so much going on. And I am I'm the game master. I'm trying everyone. Don't forget that if you do that now, then you everything. I'm trying to be the eyes for everyone because I'm playing with my son who's 11 and Ilka. And they heard it at some point that you could get extra points if you collect these things and you get more stuff. But I am the one who still knows it, and I don't want to be the only one that and at the end of the game I got 2,000 points and you got 5 because you didn't remember that this is the goal for this moment. So that's a bit much right now. I think that I love playing Clank Legacy definitely, but everyone should be on the same level. And I think if you play it with everyone there, then you have that. Everyone's trying to win and not forgetting that there are certain rules in play and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But that's the fun thing with Legacy games, or not the fun thing, but the weird thing with Legacy games. I've played Season 2 of Pandemic Legacy, and we made a rules error somewhere in the 3rd or 4th month. There was some text on a sticker, and we put the sticker on the board, and the beginning of the sticker was very important, so we knew that we have to do that, and then there was one little line underneath it says, now open box 5, which we never did. And we found that out like 6 months later, and the game was so hard and no fun to do because we missed a huge part of the game. And on the forums we found out, we were not the only one to find out that happened. But you cannot go back. You cannot say, okay,
it's really rough.
This one. The next time we do this. So you have these rules errors that just slip in, and So
It's so interesting. Like with a normal game, it's like you'll play your first game, you might get something wrong, and then like, oh well, we did that wrong. You found out half through the game. But in a legacy game, if you do something wrong, it's like, oh wait, we wrote on the board and we put this sticker on it, and we ripped that card in half.
Take that back, please.
You can't really take that back. It's not the same, you know.
And then you have the impact. Normally you would play a game, say, okay, this has an asterisk to it. Whoever won, it doesn't really count. But it's the only time you're playing this ever. You're
right.
Gonna get this. So we have to put an asterisk to the whole experience. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work either. So yeah, that's something that still has to be remedied somehow. I don't know if it's the rule books. I mean, how could you know that someone would be so excited for the first part of the text that they would just forget about looking at the second part? But it happens.
Yeah, it's so hard. I'm sure it's so hard to play test those games too, because I mean, like how do you know? It's like, oh man, how do we account for somebody missing that thing? Even in playtesting, they're like, oh, we did this. Oh, you should have just read that. Okay, cool, that's fine. You know. Yeah. But it's like, oh well, if it happens multiple times. We just played the newest Time Stories, and we went to one location and didn't go to the other. And we went to this location and then did this whole other thing. So when we got back, went to this location. It's like, oh man, we totally missed something because we didn't go there first. And it kind of threw our entire game off. But then there's people that have played the game that went to the other location first and then played through the whole thing and really enjoyed it. So it's just kind of like, how I mean, there is definitely mechanics that can be put into place to make that sort of thing. Well, put that behind a lock so you can't go that way first. You force them to go this way. But then, of course, you're limiting choice. There's lots of interesting decisions when it comes to design and how much you can strain people. But then also at the same time, when you give them a lot of freedom, there's also freedom for mistakes.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me with the escape games. Mm-hmm. They give you a penalty if you do something that, well, could be a smart idea. Mm-hmm. I think it's unluck. In unluck, they give you a little taste of the game, like a little promo story, and then they give you, there's a key in a thingy, in a box, and then you find a wire. So I'm going to use that wire to do that. And they said, no, that was a wrong idea. Press the buttons. Why? Why would that be a wrong idea? That was a good idea. It might not work. You say, oh, I'm sorry, the wire is too short, but not penalize me for that. Then, you had to put water in it and then it would come float up. Sure, that's an option too, but why would that other idea not be good? And there's loads of other things that I think, no, this is not a stupid idea to take a right turn here. That was a good idea. We had no way of knowing we would, and Time Stories had that for me at the beginning, where you would go to the wrong place first, and then you would have this whole experience trying to fight. Do you remember that episode where you were fighting monster after monster?
Oh, thinking,
oh, there's a huge thing at the end of this, and we died. We need to go back there, fight monster after monster after monster, just to find out it does nothing. What? Why would you do that to me? That's no fun. There's no fun in that. Oh well.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like people can play the exact same game, and depending on the way they play it, can have completely different experiences, especially with those sort of games, you know.
Yeah.
And somebody can come out of it loving it and be like, oh, we made the right turn we did here, and I feel so clever. And someone else is just like, I fought all the monsters and got to the end, and there was nothing. I hate this game, you know.
Yeah. So why would you? I don't get why you would do that. Because there are people, it should be 50-50. People who go there, maybe they think, oh, the monsters are too hard. But then they go the other way and they found, oh, we won. But we never went to the monsters. Why would the monster? I don't know. So to me, that feels like bad design.
At the very end of all the monsters, you flip over the card and it says, you will now rate this game lower on Board Game Geek.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so funny. Oh, man. So many awesome game designs out there. If you had like a style of game that you said would be your favorite, what would that be? I know you said you like legacy games a lot.
Yeah.
Would that mostly be it, or would you? I know you play a lot of the Euro style games.
Yeah, but I just thinking of some recent games that I've played that I did not enjoy that much. Pipeline I did not enjoy that much. I knew what was going on, and I like games that give you different options to,
gotcha.
but also that are not all based on being smart. I want to have some way of. That's why I still love Seven Wonders, because you're working through the things and you can plan a little, thinking about but mostly it's you have to pick one of those cards at this moment. And okay, well, this I can see how this works out, and then you get your next hand. Maybe I should, and trying every time to make a new choice, because you can't plan for everything.
Would you say that you like tactical games more than strategic games? Because like strategy is like a long-term plan that you have to plan out like forever in advance and put it all into motion. Tactical is like making the best choice right now. What's the best thing for me to do right here, right now?
I think that's the best description for the games that I like. Try to, because I don't like the time that people take to plan those legendary moves 5 rounds ahead. I want to be, this is cool. I'm going to do this. Whoop. My turns are very quick in games. Because I like just to make this choice on the fly. Mostly when I'm teaching games, I'm not looking at my cards at all. I'm just, okay, you can do that. It's my turn. Okay, I'm doing this. Of course, that's not a great example, but I like to be quick in games. If someone really takes their time, that's okay. But at some point, I'm gonna tweet about the game I'm playing right now, and not playing, being about the game for that moment.
Yeah.
People going out for smoke and why? Let's just enjoy this game and then do something else. But yeah, games that I really like. I really like Great Western Trail, which is in my top 10. I've never made a top anything, but Great Western Trail is in there. I like games like Marco Polo, the Voyages of Marco Polo.
Like in the water, like in the pool, like somebody says Marco and you say Polo.
No, which is not really a thing in the Netherlands or Germany.
I'm just kidding.
Is that we had Anna Maria Koekoek, which I think was something like that, where
one person closes their eyes and they say Marco, and then the people trying to run away say Polo, and it's like tag. But for some reason you play it in a pool. Has nothing to do with the Euro game at all. So completely different games.
But we have Anna Maria Koekoek, where some person closes their eyes, turn around, and they say this name of this person, Anna Maria Koekoek. And then you turn around and people are moving towards you, and you have to catch them while they're moving.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, it's a kid's game.
That's kind of like red light, green light.
Oh yeah,
in America.
Sure. Sounds like it. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we're back to having the different countries and the different stuff they do, and
I find it super interesting and fascinating. I don't know. I really enjoy learning about like the differences in where people live and how they grew up, and like it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
Like board gaming on opposite sides of the world or in different countries. I'm sure it's completely different everywhere. And how big would you say board games are like there in Germany currently? Like, is it steadily been the same, or do you think it's increasing and growing? Or
supposedly it's growing, but I don't really see. Well, that's not true. Sometimes I walk up to people and like my brother's wife, girlfriend, she likes to play a game now and then, and I think that's because of more people are open to it and don't think it's weird if you play board games. But slowly more people are open to the idea of playing games. Where it used to be like, oh no way, I'm not touching that.
That's for kids or something like that.
Yeah, it's for kids or it's for someone that I'm not. But
yeah.
Slowly but of course the games look better.
Mm-hmm.
They're way cooler than having some German game that has not been translated. That's just a bunch of cubes and a bunch of chits that lay on the table. So.
And I feel like in some ways, some games are getting easier to jump into and learn and play. Like it's not as difficult to get into gaming, and there's a lot of companies trying to lower those barriers of entry, especially on the gateway style games. It's like making it as easy to get to the table.
That teach you those games. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Having podcasts, you can listen to people talk about the game and learn more about it, you know?
Yeah, or make fun of them.
It seems like in America, it is bigger than it's ever been, you know, because there's so many actors coming out and saying, "Oh, I play games," and there's so many, like they're becoming more and more a pop culture thing. Like back in the day, I mean, when I was growing up as a kid, it was like, oh, D&D and games and Magic and Pokemon, that's like nerd stuff. That's what the geeks do, you know. But now it's just like everybody everywhere is doing it. Everybody's enjoying playing games around the table. And I mean, there's still a ton of the population which doesn't know anything about it or doesn't really care. Sure. But there's people streaming it on Twitch. And there's big YouTubers playing D&D games. Like D&D has exploded in the States. Like there's whole series on Twitch and on, I mean, even like I guess like on Amazon Prime, there's whole series of people playing D&D. It's like, what? That's crazy.
Amazon Prime as well. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So it's interesting how much of this stuff is growing and getting bigger. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see because, I mean, for how many people are playing games, there's still a massive amount of people not, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
I've always talked about how board games are interesting because everybody has a 4-player game and you're just one person, but you want 3 other people to play with, so you teach 3 other people. And then they're like, oh, this game's cool, I'll buy it. But then that person needs 3 other people to teach the game to and play with. So it's kind of like this self-perpetuating thing because everybody wants to be friendly and have more people to come to the table with them. But as they get more people, those people need more people, and then those people need more people. It's just kind of like a self-growing thing. I'm not going to say board gaming is a virus, but it's spreading like one.
But it gets worse going further along the lines. I mean, if you explain a game to someone that's like very enthusiastic, oh, this is amazing, I need to buy this game, and then they're sitting at home and thinking, Roy, could you come up and teach my friends how to play this?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and even if those people then like it, they're not used to explaining games. So a lot of people also get turned off of playing board games just because someone had one great experience at some point. Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important to try to figure out ways to lower these barriers of entry because having videos out there that teach people how to play the game, having videos out there that kind of show overviews and give people tips on stuff is very important to keeping it going, you know.
Have good rule books and making it easy to get into the games, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're right at an hour, so I guess we'll end up wrapping this thing up. You're like, what? Has it been that fast? Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, so if people don't know where to find your content or the things you make, just let people know right now. Give it a shout out.
Please join us at This Game Is Broken, which is basically, it started out as a podcast, so you'll find it on iTunes. You can just use your phone. Don't you know your phone has got this podcast function? It really does. Find us there. This Game Is Broken. Don't be afraid about not knowing the answer to most of the questions. We just love to goof around and make fun, and you'll slowly get into it, get to know us a little bit. I think you'll enjoy it. And just go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/thisgameisbroken, and you'll find us there. We're also on Twitter at TGIB Podcast, and that's what we do.
And follow Dave Luza on Twitter as well.
Yeah, on Twitter, my handle still is the Happy Luza, which I started out as. Which I thought, I need to put myself out there in some way, not being myself. So I had Dave Luza as a Twitter account, but then I thought, no, I need to have one for board games, so it's the Happy Luza. And then I ditched the other one because I never posted anything for the regular people. No, it's only board games. So it's at the Happy Luza, Luza.
I had to delete my personal Twitter too, just because like people kept tagging it, and I'm like, I never use it. Stop tagging it.
Exactly. That's the next thing. So yeah.
Awesome. Well,
and also, it's more normal now to talk about your niche hobby on Twitter. So now it's okay for me to people say, hey, you could add me on your Twitter. I'm mostly doing stuff about board games, but sure, join me. Yeah. Sorry.
And I'll show off all my Catan and Carcassonne trophies that I have in the background.
Yeah. Well, the prizes at those tournaments were always more board games.
Oh, there you go. You're like, look,
nice.
I won this board game. So
yeah, I own a couple of board games that were, at those tournaments. Concordia is the latest one.
That's awesome.
Playing games.
Well, thanks so much, Dave, and thanks so much, everybody, for listening. You can check these out on iTunes at Spaces Between. These also stream on the Dice Tower on Mondays at 5 o'clock, so make sure to check those out. I've had tons of amazing guests, and it's been awesome to have Dave on the podcast. So thanks so much, Dave, and I'll see everybody next time.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.